Kudlow Show. Entertaining and informative.
Let's talk to John Najarian, co-founder of Market Rebellion. The president stacking the Federal Reserve. The tariff program is going away. Terrible tragedies in the Midwest, in Minneapolis. Stocks seem immune to all of that. And I want to ask you why they're immune to all that. And I also want to ask you if you can help us out on some of these earnings, profits reports on NVDA and other companies. What's going on?
What I'm looking at right now is that, just as you said, an appeals court has told the president that he can't do these tariffs in the way that he has done them so far. But there's going to be a lot of time between that and the time when that is appealed up to the Supreme Court. So the tariffs remain in place, as you already know, but I'm just making sure the audience knows. Tariffs remain in place. They are working. We are bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars, and we're right-sizing the trade with other nations. And I think all of that is good news. If the tariffs ultimately did go away, I think we're going to see basically negotiated settlements with countries, much as we've seen with the EU and a host of other countries, and a lot of them are lined up to do business with the biggest buyer on earth, which is us, the United States. I thought in terms of the earnings this week, Larry, it's tough when your stock trades at 40 times earnings, which NVIDIA does, but the growth is still there. I mean, to see growth in that, nearly 50% revenue growth, that's pretty astonishing. That has not slowed down. It may not have been growing as fast as some wanted. And after we traded in the pre-market down about 1 to 2% that day, Thursday after the earnings, we just immediately ran up to almost 184. And then yesterday with the broader sell-off took us back down into the 170s. I think we trade between 165 and 180 for the next several weeks, perhaps even a month for that stock, which would be a pretty tight range for NVIDIA. And I think their business is doing just fine. So the only person, in fact, probably that is winning as much as President Trump is probably Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA. And they are just winning, even with everybody trying to imitate their chips, like Alibaba and everybody else that's trying to imitate their chips. They are still the chip of choice, the fastest chips out there. So that bodes well for America and American business.
The U.S. government will, I guess, as I understand it, take 15% of NVIDIA's sales revenues to China. Did that enter into the conference call when they gave the earnings call? Did people ask questions about that? Was that much of an issue? I mean, 15% is not nothing.
Yeah, it is not nothing. I mean, we're talking about the most valuable stock in the world, NVIDIA. $4 trillion monster. And the president has been negotiating these deals, Larry. He's likely to do one with Lockheed Martin. I don't want to skip over what you just detailed, but he is doing these deals with Intel, with NVIDIA. These are deals that are going to benefit America from a security standpoint and from a job standpoint. So am I bowled up about this? You bet I am. I think this is exactly what we should be doing at this time when you've got literally enterprise-changing technology like AI and the best chip to harness the power of AI is clearly NVIDIA. And I think that's going to be something for time, for years to come. And so I wouldn't be getting out of this stock. I'd be on any weakness down to that 165 level or so that I detailed a moment ago. I'd be a buyer. I liked MongoDB. This is a big database play, and it's up about as much as NVIDIA over the year, about 40%. And this stock had a huge pop this week as far as earnings. The VIX that you just spoke of, Lair, is, of course, on the S&P 500, and both those stocks that I'm talking about are S&P 500 type stocks. When we do have an oopsie, like MRVL technology, MRVL, had an oopsie this past week, dropped about 17% in a day. It was countered by some of the positives on companies like MBD, MongoDB, and all that stuff. So it's just back and forth. The markets are not moving up or down multiple percent a day anymore. And so a 16 VIX would mean we're expecting about a 1% move. Right now, we're, as Jim just said, I think in the 15 and 14 range, which means less than a 1% move out of the S&P. And I think we're going to see more and more of that. Of course, after we come out of the holiday weekend, we'll lose a day into next week. So people are already sort of pricing that in to their models for next week and going into the September timeframe. I talk about marathon runners a lot when it comes to stocks and the NASDAQ, because nobody can run forever, not even David Goggins. So you've got to see some pullbacks. I think we're seeing some of those pullbacks already. I mentioned MRVL, but there's a host of others that have pulled back, even if we want to take a look at NVDA. And so I think we're going to see an easing and then right back to work into the fourth quarter. But yeah, easing between now and perhaps September.